Hi, this is Jim Hilgendorf. You know, one of my favorite women heroines in American history is a woman you probably never heard of before. Her name, Abby Kelley Foster. Abby was born on a farm near Worcester, Massachusetts in 1811, and she lived till 1887. And earlier in her life, she became a teacher, but then in her 20s, one day, she attended a lecture by William Lloyd Garrison, the great abolitionist, and this totally changed her life. From then on, little by little and more and more and more, she became one of the major forces for not only for the abolition of slavery, but later on for full equality and voting rights for African Americans, for full equality and voting rights for women. She was a lady who didn't like halfway measures. She wanted equality for African Americans and women now. She had a motto which I really like. She said, "Go where you are least wanted, for there you are most needed." And for about 20 years of her life, actually, she just went from town to town, village to village, all across the eastern United States, talking to people about these issues. I'd like to read just a little bit more about Abby Kelley Foster. What Abby Kelley Foster is most remembered for is her advocacy of Come-Outerism, a belief that abolitionists were morally bound to leave churches that did not fully, openly, and absolutely condemn slavery. There could be no middle ground on this issue. She was in agreement with another woman, Harriet Beecher Stowe, the author of the great novel Uncle Tom's Cabin, which had an enormous impact upon the issue of slavery leading up to the Civil War. And the import of that book was that slavery and Christianity were totally incompatible. As in Abby's day, we now live in a morally confusing time. We have a Republican Senate and party, along with a great number of our American Christian churches, who support a president who denigrates African Americans, Mexicans, other nations, nationalities, who supports racist supremacy propaganda, who aspires to deprive millions of Americans of their health care, who verifiably lies obsessively through his tweets, who supports a party secretly lusting to abolish Social Security for tens of millions of senior citizens, who's been caught on tape expressing his low regard for women, who denigrates our military service members, who's trying daily to destroy the credibility of our system of justice, of our courts, of our newspapers and media, who would tear apart tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of children, dreamers, from their families, who earlier this year understood very well the enormous gravity of the coronavirus pandemic, yet lied about it in public, covered it up, and failed to take action for his own personal political safety, resulting in, up to this point, tens of thousands of unnecessary deaths and the destruction of our economy. And the list goes on. It's time, I think, we demand our own sort of come-outerism. Today, Abby Kelley Foster would undoubtedly, I say, quote, "If you have any kind of morality and sense of justice, come out of the Republican Party. Withhold your support or participation whatsoever in a party and a president bound over at all costs to power and profit at the expense of the people. If you have any commitment of your own to the basic root moral tenets of the founder of your Christian religion, then you must come out and sever all your ties with this party and president, and also walk away from your church and church leaders if they choose to cast their lot and support for such an immoral party and person. This is Judgment Day, your judgment. Where do you stand? Thank you.